Do you have any guilty pleasure song that you listen secretly?
Oh my God, I love John Denver. You know, I think John Denver goes into my soul.
Welcome everybody to the Augustine Strings Wind Up, where we have a different guitarist for a very fun, informal and chill conversation while they change their guitar strings. So I want to invite you all to grab your guitar and change your strings with us while listening to this conversation. My name is Edu Gutterres. I'm also from Brazil, guitarist from Brazil. I live here in New York City since 2021, and I'm very happy to be the host for this series of conversations/interviews. Today we have Octávio Deluchi, and I want him to introduce himself.
So my name is Octávio Deluchi. I'm also a guitarist from Brazil. I live in Long Island/New York City area since 2021 as well. In the States for a bit more. And I think we're gonna have a lot to talk about.
Before we start, I really want to explain to you and also to the audience how this conversation will work. We prepared one different topic from each string that you'll be changing. So the first string, the E string, will be the Entree, just talking about how you change the strings and stuff like that. The second string, the B string, will be about the beginnings, when you started learning the instrument. The third string, G string, will be gear or guitar. We'll talk about the instrument. The fourth string, D string, will be about dreams and aspirations. The fifth string, we actually asked artificial intelligence to come up with some questions, and they're actually very nice and fun. And the sixth string is the E string. My name is Edu, and with an E. So these are the questions that I came up with, very random. You'll see. Again, before we start, just one more thing. I want to invite you all to follow Augustine Strings on YouTube, Instagram. Also follow Octávio. I know how to say your name in Portuguese, come on. I don't need to say it in English.
It's to conceive everyone.
Follow Octávio also on his social media. I just want to tell them one more thing about you that you didn't say in the introduction. Octávio just released his first EP on Spotify and all the other streaming platforms, so go check it out. And he also just came back from Brazil, where he was touring and playing, releasing this EP, right?
Yes.
Let's get started. Let's change these strings. We have this here for you.
Oh, thank you.
Helps.
It does.
You can start changing the
Okay, I can start changing.
Otherwise, we'll be here for 2 hours.
Oh my God,
which is
we're
okay.
gonna talk so much.
I won't complain, but yeah. What do you do when you're changing the guitar strings? Do you watch like movies, YouTube? Do you listen to music?
I usually watch some YouTube videos, sometimes guitar videos, sometimes podcasts or channels that I like to see. I like to check it out.
For now on, you can watch these conversations.
From now on, we can watch this conversation, of course.
Yeah, keep going, I'm sorry.
No, yeah, that's
podcast.
it. So that would be a perfect example of, that's something that I would watch, like changing the strings. Yeah.
Amazing. Also, one more thing that I forgot to ask. Which strings do you use from Augustine?
I use Augustine Imperial Blue.
Good.
Yes.
I actually know that, and we have it here, but I wanted you to explain them all. But we have some breaking news, because you didn't.
News. I didn't.
Not all the Brazilians, 99% of the Brazilians use the Regal Blue string from Augustine, this one here. And Octávio was one of us. And since when did you change your mind?
So it's a very delicate, it's a very polemic question, because I grew up like playing with Augustine Regal Blue, which is the one that you just showed us. But then like having different guitars, changing the instrument that I'm playing, everything led me to like, what if I have a lighter gauge strings, or what if I try heavier strings and this kind of thing. So I remember there was a time that I got every single string by Augustine and I tried on the guitar. I would change the string every week. So it's like, okay, I like these three that I like the most, my way of playing, what I want to hear. That were like the Augustine Regal Blue, the Imperial. Okay, thank you. Yeah, that's very helpful. The Imperial and the Regal Red. Mm-hmm. And then right now with the instruments that I'm using, we're gonna get to that later. I love to use the Imperial Blue.
Nice. I just want to teach you something, and everyone that is watching. I don't know how easy it is for you to open this package, but I just learned something new today. If you flip it upside down and you just do this, like, let me see if I can, with my long nails, it just open very easily.
Perfect. Oh my God, thank you. Should I put that here?
Oh yeah, you can leave
okay.
it there. How often do you change the strings? When you're just practicing, and also when you have concerts or, yeah.
So that's a good question. When I have concerts, sometimes I have to change every 5 days, the maximum.
Mm-hmm.
Like I just came from like 10 days of like playing and touring, and it was quite crazy because I put like new strings on Saturday. On my last concert on the next Friday, I already, was like, oh my God, I played so much that, I have to change.
Yeah.
So there was like 5 days. When I'm just like in a regular, over the semester or over the year in a regular schedule, I would say I change every 2 weeks.
Nice. And do you consider yourself normally a fast changer or a slow changer?
I'm more like slow changer.
Yeah.
As you can see here, like one string.
No, you're doing great.
Okay, I mean, I can do pretty fast, but just when it's like really required.
Yeah.
On the busy schedule, or like you have to practice or have to play, and then I just go and change it as quick as possible.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so now we're moving on to the second string, the B string,
Yes.
and I want to talk to you about your beginnings. How did you start learning the guitar? Do you come from a family of musicians? Like, can you tell us a little bit?
Yeah, I don't come from a family of musicians, despite the fact that I do have some musicians in my family. But so I basically just started in music because me and my family, we moved to a small town called Prados in Minas Gerais in Brazil. I was born in a neighborhood city from that place, but I wasn't living there. So we moved to Prados. And as anyone in the city, I just started taking music lessons. So that's a very musical city, a very cultural city. And like literally anyone in the city, I just started taking music lessons, and I kept going, and then I started to play the saxophone, and then I did classes with the local festival, and then my brother gave me a guitar. My brother gave me a guitar, was like around 12. And then this brother that gave me a guitar, he's a guitar teacher. But then, like, because of our age difference, we didn't grow up together. And then he gave me a guitar. I started taking lessons with, local teachers. And then I remember, like, I used to have my first professor, after like 5 or 6 lessons, he came to me like, okay, I cannot teach you anymore. I have to move somewhere else. And it was like, well, okay. But then, here and there, playing some chords and everything. So I discovered we had in the neighbor city, the city I was born, São João del Rei, I discovered they had this project in the university there, in the college, where they would give music, including guitar lessons, to people from the community.
Nice.
So I signed for that, and then I started having lessons with my first classical guitar teacher, that was Guilherme Vincents. But that was it, just like have a lesson once a week. But I was very fortunate to be able to live already the environment with the guitar college students in the undergrad level. I was started like 14, 15. And then I would take, music lessons in different environments, like, oh, this professor is giving harmony lessons in this festival. I would go to every single festival, music event that I could go. Nice. And then by the time I graduated from high school, it's like, okay, let me really focus on the classical guitar as a guitar player, because I also played electric guitar. I had a rock band. I had like carnival percussion groups playing. So I was like all over the place. So when I graduated from high school, and I went over like, okay, that's what I want to do. I'm going to go to college. I'm going to do my undergrad in guitar. And that's when I was like, okay, let me, wear the shirt of like guitar player. And I started focusing more on that.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you mentioned you didn't start with classical guitar.
No.
And Well, when you start taking lessons with Guilherme, who is also a professor in the university there, right?
Yes.
You started learning the classical guitar. Do you remember the pieces you were playing in the beginning? Like, or was it a lot of technique? Was it?
I remember I would love the guitar. I would like just do like a hyper focus on everything that I would engage with.
Nice.
So I remember like I applied when I was on my second year of high school, which means like I didn't finish high school yet. I applied for college and it was approved. Oh. And I was like, because I wanted so much. So I remember on that occasion, I played a Brouwer Etude because that's part of the required piece. I don't remember if a Villa Lobos Etude was required as well. And then like a free choice piece that I played, Lamentos do Morro by Garoto. A great like Brazilian composer.
And I remember, I'm from the south of Brazil and Octávio is from the southeast of Brazil. I remember when I was in college, we were in college at the same time, but I remember hearing that, this guy, Octávio won this competition. When did you start taking part of participating in competitions?
That's interesting because that was like 2016. We used to teach together, so remember we were like just sat down talking. They're like, "Oh, I'm gonna go to this competition. We like to go." It's like, "I'm not sure. If you go, I go." And then like we went there, and then it was the first actual it was the first guitar competition that I attended, and then I got to the final round. It was like, what happened here, because I did not have any reference. So I watched the first competitors, they played great. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna go back home. And then they announced my name in the finals, and then they're like, okay, Octávio, you got the second prize. And then I remember people in Brazil used to do 2 competitions in a row because they are in one day you had this one, this A one, and the next weekend you had the B one. So people would travel to do both of them. So I remember on the first one, I got the second prize, and the next day, I switched with the first prize. So I got the first prize on the second competition, the guy got the second prize.
Nice.
So that's when I was like, wow, I can do that.
So we're now about to move on to the third string, right? We're gonna talk about your instruments. I know you have many. This one is actually brand new, right? You just brought it from Brazil.
I got it less than 2 weeks ago. I brought it from Brazil. Both guitars that I'm playing right now, they're brand new. One of them I brought both of them are Brazilian makers. For 2 years I was playing a Paul Fischer, the ones that we've played together and everything. But then now I have 2 guitars. I have one by Daniel Mendes, 2023, and this one by Clayton Fernandes, 2023. The Daniel Mendes is a traditional spruce top with Indian rosewood, and this one that's a lattice guitar with Indian rosewood and cedar on the. So I wanted to explore these new possibilities because I always play my whole life in traditional guitars, and then I was like, okay, it's time to change, to try, to see what's gonna happen.
And how do you like it so far? I know it's been just 2 weeks, but the concerts in Brazil, did you play with this one?
I played with this one. I was very afraid to fly with the guitar, with the instrument. And I was like, since I already have to take the guitar and I'm afraid to fly with the ones that I have here, I'm gonna play with this one. And of course, I knew the work of this guitar maker before. We talked a lot before, and I was like, no, I think it's gonna be great. Nice. So I used this one for this last trip, this last tour.
Nice. Before we move on to the dreams question, I want to do a pivot question. Yeah. Do you have a dream guitar? From a guitar maker, eventually I want to get one of these guitars.
So the one time that struck me the most was when I had the opportunity to play Ramanilhas. One of the guitars that Brim used. So it was that was a big boom in my head, because you even have to learn how to play the instruments. That's why I like to try different guitars, because you learn from the instrument as well, and you learn how to produce the sound you have in mind. And then when I played the Ramanilhas, it was life change. It was wow, this is unbelievable. that would be like a dream guitar, so to say.
Nice.
Yeah, that was the time that I played some instrument that struck me the most.
So let's move on to the D string now, and I want to talk to you about dreams and aspirations. Do you have any bigger projects that you're dreaming of that you really want to happen eventually?
Yeah, I would love to record more, and I have some plans coming up in 2024. That's a big thing for me. But for me, I think the most when you say the word dream, for me it's just like to be able to inspire people as much as I was inspired by many other like professors, teachers, guitarists, musicians, and be able to change, you know, people's for better to the better, because you know I was changed by the guitar or by the music, so I just want for people like to feel the same. I think that's a big dream that I have.
Very nice.
You know, and to be able to represent where I come from, where like my experiences that I have, the influences, because everything's so dynamic and like, yeah.
And I know you also teach. Do you have dreams about teaching? Like, I know you love teaching kids too, but
I love. So that's one of the things I actually want to. Part of my undergrad was in music education, actually. So I cannot imagine a scenario where I only do one thing. And so for me, those things complement each other. Teaching and performance, for example. So yeah, I love teaching, especially when you see the magic happening, because music for me is a way of communicate. Especially like a student comes to you and you see the magic happening, like they start to have their own words, like through the guitar, through music. It's like magic. It was like, wow, that's what I do. So,
nice. Okay, one more question. This one is very nice, actually. What is your guitar dream team, Fab Four?
You, me, Gabi. Can it be us?
You can include yourself.
Okay, I cannot include myself, or
You can.
Okay, no, my guitar team. I would love to. You know, we Brazilians, we love soccer. I know you love soccer too. So we love to be like in a team, as with you, with Gabi, with Fabio, João, and I'm very much inspired by people works. You know, performances by people such as like. Dylan Hopstock, I love like the way he thinks and he presents everything. That's a big inspiration for me. Jason Viox, I also love his recordings. I love from a newer generation. I love like Thibaut. I don't know if I'm pronouncing them correctly, but Thibaut Garcia or Jeremy Juve, or even like the. Well, I don't know. It just like a lot of people pop into my mind, so it's difficult to find a dream team. You know.
That's a good team. That's a good team. You have the striker. You have the defenders.
Yeah, you have the striker, defenders, and me over there, like learning with everyone. You know.
Also, just one more question. You're almost done with the D string.
Okay.
If you could have a composer to write a piece for you, who would it be?
I would be very. Yeah. I would be very curious if Stravinsky could write a piece for me.
Oh, wow.
Curious, how would it sound? You know, would it be in which phase of like his career, which approach he would use depending of like his wide variety of like styles that he went through, or you know, I think that's a composer that comes to my mind when you ask me that question.
Stravinsky, if you're what? No, just kidding. So, the next string, the fifth string, we asked ChatGPT, can you come up with some random questions to our guitarist friend? And the questions are actually pretty good. I'm gonna read them for you.
Okay.
So, the first one, do you have any pre-show or pre-concert ritual that you do every time you play?
I like to eat, but not eat like just eating. You have to eat a comfort food, that you know, a safe and comfort food. So because I get very mad and annoying annoyed when I'm hungry, and especially like it's very exhausting to play and perform. So you can see I like to eat, but it's very exhausting, and you know, a lot of adrenaline, a lot of like concentration. So if I can remove the possibility of being annoyed by that, that's good.
Nice. What is the most challenging piece you've played, and how did you manage to work on that piece?
I think for me, it depends about the time. I think the piece that I played, it was the most difficult for me. The time I learned it, it was the Fandango by Joaquim Rodrigo, because I think I got to that piece too early. So it was the one that I spent the most time learning it. So yeah, that was the one.
I remember listening to you playing this piece on YouTube before we met.
Oh my God!
So yeah, that was one of the fast scales. So hard. Yeah, one more question. Do you have any guilty pleasure song that you listen secretly?
Oh my God!
So
yes,
many.
So many. Can it be Brazilian songs?
It can be any.
I love
genre.
Reginaldo Rossi, which is a Brazilian. How do we explain that? The Brazilian brega. I love Reginaldo Rossi. I love one more.
One international now.
One international. I love John Denver. Oh my God, I love John Denver. I don't know. Every time that I show people that I love John Denver, they're like, "Why?" It was like, "That's so good." You know, I think John Denver goes into my soul, like very straightforward.
And do you have any piece that you play secretly and play and sing? Actually, I want to know.
John Denver, I play and sing all Reginaldo Rossi.
You also
Denver.
play?
On my, like when no one is singing, yeah.
So let's move on to the last string. These are the questions that I came up with, and because we're both Brazilians, I want to ask you about Brazilian music. We know how big Brazilian music is around the world, especially in the classical guitar world. We have the biggest example, Villa-Lobos, but also Sérgio Assad. What do you love most about our music, the Brazilian music?
The way that it's connected so much with our roots, and the way how it's very difficult to differentiate what is popular music or what is concert classical music. I think those things, I don't know if it's because I didn't experience other types of music as much as I did with Brazilian music, but for me it's unbelievably impressive how those two things they mix. Like when we talk about Villa-Lobos, we are talking about Brazilian urban popular music from Rio de Janeiro in the like early 20th century. Or when we talk about Sérgio Assad, we're talking about a lot of like influence from the northeastern of Brazil and dances. And so I think that's one thing that I love.
Nice. Who is your favorite Brazilian composer? I know you play a lot of living composers, right?
Yeah.
So can you give me one living composer and one that's not living anymore?
For me, I just came from a tour that I played almost exclusively living composers that I collaborated with. Of course, Sérgio Assad is a very big name, but I wanted to point out a name here that, maybe it's because people still don't know that much yet, which is Vicente Pascoal. I think he is a great guitar composer, and he's one of the most prominent and prolific ones. His guitar writing, respects the tradition so much, like the European, especially 20th century guitar tradition. At the same way, it like, wait, almost there.
Do you need help?
Oh, I just learned here. On the same way, it brings the guitar forward with
nice
colors, and so that's one. You said about Brazilian guitar composer?
Yeah, but Vicente is a great example.
Vicente is a good example, and of course we cannot not say like Berenati. I just met Berenati, or like Marco Pereira or Sérgio Assad.
So I prepared like a little game just for us to finish.
Okay.
And I just asked Octávio about this Brazilian question because Octávio and 3 other friends of ours, they created a very nice project featuring Brazilian composers and featuring their guitar works, which is called Brazilian Classical Guitar Community. It's on YouTube and many composers are featured there. And I know you guys are very passionate about this project. So I prepared this like ping pong match.
Okay.
I'm just gonna ask you like one thing, and you have to come up with one answer. Okay? No needs to tell me why.
Okay.
Don't worry. One neighborhood in New York.
Brooklyn. It's a big neighborhood. I have to be more specific.
No,
Okay.
yeah, Brooklyn is a borough, right?
Yeah.
Does that count for the New Yorkers here?
No.
No.
Okay, Park Slope.
One city in Brazil.
Tiradentes.
It's a very random city in Brazil.
It's not
Amazing
random.
city. Amazing city.
It was in New York
Beautiful
Times.
historical city.
Okay.
I know it. I'm sorry. One movie.
One movie, The Great Beauty, by Paolo Sorrentino.
Oh wow. Favorite food.
Oh, wow. Feijão tropeiro.
Brazilian
Tropeiro
dish.
beans.
One composer.
Um composer, Granados.
One non-guitarist artist.
Regina Spektor.
One Brazilian artist.
Duda Beach.
One guitar piece.
One guitar piece. Oh my god. One guitar piece. Sevilla.
One place in the world you want to visit.
Bali.
Wow. One hobby.
One hobby, painting.
Ooh, I didn't know that. One drink.
Caipirinha.
Caipirinha is a Brazilian drink. One album.
One album, Americas by Fábio Zanon.
Nice. Do you have all the strings? That's good.
Almost. I don't know
Those
if
were
it's good, but I have.
Those were the questions I had.
Okay.
It was amazing to have you here, really. It was a pleasure. Before we wrap up, what will those strings be used for? Practice? Any concerts coming?
I have a concert next week in New York, a concert with a clarinet player. We're gonna play, I feel like I've talked about so much Brazilian music, but it's just part what I do, and I like to correlate that with a broader genre. But I have a concert with a clarinet player where we're gonna play Piazzolla, Villa-Lobos, and other like pieces by South American composers next Thursday in New York. And to practice that, and I have some recordings to do too with like various pieces. So
Amazing.
that's why.
Give us a loom.
Oh my
From
god!
E to E. Let's see. Perfect tuning. Can you play the piece? So thank you everyone for watching this episode with the great Octávio Deluchi. We're very happy to be here with this project, and stay tuned for the next episodes. Down.